Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the UGC League. We are in game number 3 of We Got Late Game versus Perfectionvore. I lost their names for like 2 seconds in my head there as I began that little spiel, but yeah, we're off to the races. This is going to be it. So game number 1, we saw Perfectionvore go with a very, very aggressive tri-lane, and it shut down We Got Late Game's carry, and they just weren't quite able to recover as the game progressed. Then we got into game number 2, and Late Game found themselves a lot of space. They laned it a little bit better. They got their gyro really, really fat, and a clever Omni Knight pick helped them deal with the mass amount of physical damage that Perfectionvore were pumping out. Now we're into game number 3, and we will see how these teams choose to adapt and bring their A game for this final game of the first round of the UGC League Season 4 playoffs. So this is it. This is the time. I'm Captain Canuck, and I am joined by my wonderful co-caster, V, aka my good teammate and buddy, Will. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing quite well, thank you. Very excited to see who comes out on top in this game. Like, Late Game did so well in that last game in making space for their gyro. I'm assuming they're going to pick it up again, but in these games, generally the team who's gone all-out aggressive has won in the early game and been able to transition that to win. So these high-action, chaotic games are just so fun to cast and so fun to watch.
Dire team back.
Okay, just a sec here.
We have the standard SF ban coming out on the side of Late Game, so they don't want to be facing Perfectionvore's SF. I think Alex played it once and did quite well with it in the first game. That brought them the win, so very standard ban coming out.
Okay, so I'm just kind of trying to deal with some team stuff here. We had Perfectionvore were having some lag issues in the last game, which resulted in the couple pauses that we saw there. And since that game, they have switched out 2 of their players. And one of the players that they switched in is not on their official roster, which is against UGC rules. You have to have every player that you play rostered officially on your team. So we're going to... I told them to message the admins, so we'll see what the admins say about this, but for now, I guess we'll let the game go, and if the admins want to make a call to reverse anything that's happened in this game, they can do that later, but for now, I don't want to interrupt the game or cause a longer wait just to mess around with rules, because I am not an official admin. I'm not allowed to make that call. So we'll see what the decision is, but as it stands right now, things are looking a little bit funky in how this game is turning out. But either way, let's get back to talking about the game, and we'll deal with that stuff later.
Yeah, Perfectionvore has banned out Phoenix here and the IO, so again, not wanting to face against Late Game's IO pick. Interesting the ban of the Phoenix, considering I don't think we've seen a Phoenix ban before. Maybe in game 1, but
no,
I'm not certain.
I don't think Phoenix has been banned or picked in the entirety of this series. Oh, hey. Oh, man. Jeez, I totally forgot to turn off my webcam and switch over to the in-game draft, and my girlfriend was just leaving the house, so I like looked over at her and waved and gave her a heart and blew her a kiss and stuff, and I was on webcam for all of it.
Lovely.
Oh man. The
joys of streaming, Dota.
Radiant team pick.
Oh well.
Oh. Here on the side of Late Game, we have the Lesh pick coming up, but Perfectionvore immediately responded with the Pugna pick, which is going to be interesting to see how they land it. I've seen Pugna in the Koro mainly in professional play, so the immediate Omni pick is actually quite good, because I think the Repel blocks the Nether Ward from applying its damage.
Yeah, it does. So. And interesting... This draft, we saw Pugna banned out in the first phase of the last 2 games we played here, and this game it gets through the pool, but Late Game immediately snag up the Leshrac, which is countered by the Pugna. So they pick the Pugna, and Perfectionvore are already looking at a decent counter draft to what Late Game has already, but this Omni Knight again, they put it to great use in game number 1, and we'll see how it goes in game number 2.
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
I'm definitely
remaining.
expecting Perfectionvore to lean towards maybe
5
a core
seconds
hero
remaining.
that runs Diffusal. So maybe something like a PL or maybe even a Ricky
Yeah.
to deal with the
Radiant
Repel
team
and the
back.
Guardian Angel, but that's still a little bit ways off.
Yeah, and I mean something that we run quite often when we see that Omni Knight pickup is just a Quaswex Invoker. I mean that Tornado removes the Guardian Angel, and it's really good
10
at
seconds
kind of keeping
remaining.
that Omni Knight from doing what he does best. So maybe that's something we
5
see, but that does
seconds
leave
remaining.
Perfectionvore's lineup very squishy and very int based. You won't have a lot of versatility
Reserve time.
in your lineup there, and it's going to be hard to lane an Invoker with that Pugna on the board already. So unless you want to do like a safe lane Invoker, but that doesn't work so well with its Quaswex. So
Yeah, we could see Invoker in the mid lane like Pugna safe, but that's an option as well.
yeah, and I don't know, like Pugna does make a pretty decent support, but you have to get a lot of kills on it, and you have to make it work. So. So it's a little bit odd. We'll see, but I don't know. It's a hard hero to lane, but if you can make it happen in the early game, he picks up gold no matter what role he's in. Like if he's a support, he's gonna get an Aghanims or a mech or whatever he needs. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, very interesting ban coming out for Perfectionvore. They ban out the PL themselves while they have the first pick here. Right? They could have picked PL right now instead of banning him.
Yeah, I don't know how well it works against the Leshrac, though. I think the illusions die really quickly to the Lesh, and I mean, if you can get a Diffusal and you can get the jump on the Lesh, you can usually keep him down low, but for the most part, I think because Lesh has so much AoE damage and that Lightning Storm and stuff, it's hard to maintain a lot of illusions against him, so maybe not the best pickup for Perfectionvore.
I'm very interested to see what they pick instead of the PL for their carry. Maybe a natural BKB carrier, perhaps, or something like a Sven. But instead, they go more squish and pick up the Lina.
Radiant team pick.
Yeah, and I don't mind this all that much. Lina is one of very few heroes that can compete with the Leshrac in the mid lane. Her spam and her spam ability and her damage is just high enough to kind of compete with that Lightning Storm. So, Lina is a good mid hero for this lineup. They also have the two hard lasers in that Finger of Death and the Laguna Blade. But, Omni Knight already has that magic immunity, and we got late game is just in a better position to draft more magic immunity against this lineup. So we'll see what they go for, but they definitely know that they're up against almost nothing but magic damage, and so they can draft accordingly and hopefully create a team that works well for them.
Yeah, I'd love to see the Rubik pick up by late game. I think there's a lot of good spells to steal here, and the Nullfield really works well against a lot of these heroes. But we'll see what they pick up. They ban out the Spirit Breaker, so not wanting someone to kind of come in and get into Lesh's face or maybe their other support's face, which is pretty standard to see. I think Perfectionvore ran that Spirit Breaker pretty well, but they just go with something they're comfortable with and pick up the Gyrocopter again.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that was actually kind of obvious. I think I would have liked to see Perfectionvore ban out that gyro, but, who knows? I think a lot of their thinking here is, we shut down the gyro in game number 1 by playing aggressively. Let's make sure we do that again. Like, game number 2, it fell apart because they ended up... because we got late game intelligently rotated their lanes early. They knew that there was going to be an aggressive tri-lane, so they threw their gyro down towards bottom, and it worked out beautifully for them. And I think Perfectionvore is thinking, okay, as long as we can match up our lanes properly and we can shut down this gyro before he gets too much farm, we'll be okay. But are they really in a position to do that this game? I mean, they've got a lot of heroes that do a lot of damage, but do they have the sustain to deal with, an Omni Knight turning these fights around on them? It's a weird...
Yeah, and who's going to frontline these fights? Are they just going to try to kite at range, or...?
Yeah, I really don't know, and I mean, I'm actually kind of thinking that this might be the aggro try here. I mean, you've got so much magic damage that the Decrepify would do work down on that bottom lane. But can you really fight against that? Like, there's, whoever you start to go on, if you decrep anybody, the Omni Knight's going to repel it. So I don't know if Perfectionvore can really spin something like that, but we'll see what they do. I mean, Perfectionvore has run an aggro try in every single game so far this series, and I wouldn't put it past them to do it again, especially with the pickups that they've taken already. So,
and they go more squish and pick up the Drow Ranger. I think this is like huge damage potential by their team, and this physical damage kind of adds a little bit of diversity to their lineup. Like they have good nuke magic damage coming from the Pugna line and Lina, but in terms of right click, the Drow's just going to provide those heroes with the option to kind of do damage without having to expend their mana.
Yeah, and
which will be valuable.
Yeah, and I really actually like the I like many things about this. I think We Got Late Game is going to be much favored in the late game because they'll have a lot of ability to stop the enemy team from cutting them around. I think if they drop down the call down, if the Earthshaker gets any stuns really, or if the Leshrac starts to get into the middle of this fight, Perfectionvore's draft is really going to start to crumble. However, they are going to dominate these lanes, and like I said, I think this aggro try is even more likely now as we see this Drow Ranger pickup. So I don't know if Drow wants to participate in the aggro try. She definitely could, but I think what we're more likely to see is a Drow Ranger in the solo safe lane. We're going to see the Pugna and Lion down bottom together, and I'm tempted to say that the Lina joins them, but they could also put another hero with the Lion and Pugna. They could put another kind of nuky support down there and let the Lion, and let the Pugna be the core rather. So there's kind of the two options there. I think Lina needs to go mid because there's not really anything else they can draft at this point that beats the Leshrac mid. So I think the choice is go for the Lina mid and then pick up, like I said, another kind of nuky range support, maybe a Witch Doctor or something that can sustain their push, and then they just throw coconuts, earth spikes, and nether blasts until they destroy bottom lane.
Yeah. I think this Morphling ban was perfect by We Got Late Game. Like, that is the hero that you just described. Tanky, kind of long range damage hero that could do really well in the tri lane and Perfectionvore. I think they ran that Morphling in the first game to great avail in an aggro try.
I'm just trying to think of what this last pick might be for them.
They've only got 10 seconds, so they're going to have to choose quite quickly.
Yeah. Oh, they go for the Night Stalker. Interesting.
Radiant team pick.
Perhaps it's a night pick, perhaps not.
Yeah, I'm really
wondering where they're going to lane it.
Yeah, so am I. I think...
Unless Lina goes in the aggro try and they put Night Stalker mid, but I doubt they're going to put a Night Stalker mid versus Leshrac.
Yeah, I think Leshrac destroys the Night Stalker, so I think they probably put it towards the off lane. I don't know. I mean, who
Which
knows?
offers good control with the silence on the Omni Knight, but during the day they're going to struggle.
The other option here is, like, we keep saying they're going to go aggro, but maybe they just don't go aggro at all. Maybe they just keep the Night Stalker in, like... Oh, interesting. Okay. I'm curious about how their heroes are picking this, because Kronosh has played support in every single game, so he's got the Pugna. Duke has played support, so yeah.
I think the Lina's mid. I think that much is pretty certain.
I mean, maybe they're just going. Yeah, I think aggro with the Lion, the Pugna, and the Night Stalker is the most likely.
Yeah. With the Drow solo safe, how do you think the Drow will fare, and who she's going to be up against? Is it going to be a solo safe or solo off Earthshaker?
I think, yeah. Unless they put like the Omni and the Earthshaker together, but I think it'll probably just be a solo Earthshaker.
They could try and aggro the Gyro again.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, last game wasn't even an aggro. It was just dodging the aggro try. So I think they might. I think they'll probably do the same thing again. Like I think they want to dodge that aggro as much as they can. But I think they do have the tools to fight it this game. This game if they want it. I don't know. There's a lot of variables to this draft. We'll see how it works out. Earthshaker's got boots first, so he's definitely going to the off lane. But
let's do our introductions, perhaps.
yeah. Over on the side of Perfectionvore, we got Kronosh. He's going to be taking on that Pugna Ale Bellamy. Is he a Perfectionvore player?
Yeah, I've seen him before.
Yeah, okay. I knew I'd recognize his name, but I wasn't sure if he was one of their stand-ins or if he played on another team. But we've got IK2, the Lion. We've got Unfuck Dodo on the Lena. And Duke is going to be playing that Night Stalker. Over on the Radiant side, we've got Hora taking the Gyrocopter. He got caught out there, but oh my god, great fissure. Are they going to find Kronosh? They do with the lightning, and Duke gets out with a Tango eating through those trees. But beautiful play by the Earthshaker there, and that Rocket Barrage is enough to pick off the Pugna. So they got the first blood there on the Leshrac, which is going to mean huge things for the mid lane. And I think both bounty runes are going to go the way of late game as well. So well played there. But back to the introductions. Hora on the Gyrocopter. Lokarn on the Earthshaker. Save on the Keeper of the Light. Dory on that mid lane Leshrac. And Omni Knight going to be played by presumably.
And both bounties secured by late game. So this is great. It's interesting. They have Drow and Lion here in the off lane. Maybe looking to do some form of dual lanes here.
Yeah, maybe actually. I thought Pugna might make his way down to bottom, but it looks like he is just going back up top with Duke. So it's going to be the Pugna and the Night Stalker up together in the safe lane, while the Drow and the Lion take over bottom. And I mean, we see the Gyro rotating up towards the off lane again to dodge that aggro lane, but I'm pretty sure Perfectionvore knew that was happening, and they kind of just said, whatever. Like,
yeah,
cool.
So
we'll fight you if you're here, but we don't care if you're not.
Yeah, this Earthshaker is probably going to be able to get some good levels and maybe able to spam out the fissure, just secure a few CS here and there. He's also able to kind of block off his wave with the fissure if he wants.
Yeah.
But we're seeing a quick TPN from the Coddle here into the bottom lane to help out the Earthshaker. So maybe we're going to have a traditional dual lanes here with a 1-1 mid.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't really think that Coddle would have contributed much up top. He would have kept the Gyro a little bit safer, but I think if they play smart, the Omni and the Gyro is more than enough to dominate this lane in any and every way. So I think late game are going to have it nice and easy up on top, whereas down on bottom, it's going to be a little bit rougher for the Earthshaker and the Coddle, but they should do just fine in controlling the lane and keeping themselves in experience range.
In the mid lane, we have pretty even CS coming out here. Both players with 6 last hits, but definitely going to... Oh, we have a pause coming up here. We have Lion in the bottom lane, appears to be disconnected perhaps.
Interesting. Okay.
Tactical pause.
Yeah, I don't know. He was AFK? What?
What?
You just stand up and walk away while he's laning?
That's not an excuse.
Does his dog light his wife on fire or something? I don't know.
I don't...
Yeah. They're gonna fissure it anyways, like, I would too, yeah, that was a bit of a questionable pause, but they get the kill on Lion anyways, and, yeah, so... You know, this dual lane down on the bottom that I thought was just going to kind of idly gather experience has now gotten themselves a free kill, and whether or not it was because of AFK is another question, but they grabbed themselves, yeah, quick and easy kill, and 2-0 on the side of late game.
Up in the top lane, we have seen that Gyro's farm is probably significantly less than what he wants it to be. And he expends a rocket barrage there without getting too much damage on either course, so his offlane is going alright. It's not as ideal it was last game, but it's tolerable, and Pugna, man, doing a great job zoning him with these right clicks.
Yeah, I mean, Pugna's right click damage is actually pretty damn huge. We were talking about Witch Doctors in the last game, and Pugna's is pretty damn good as well. But he's also got the bonus damage from the Drow Ranger, which is going to contribute even more to his ability to zone up in that mid lane.
I think Pugna is one of the highest ink gains per level, so that's again offering huge damage to his potential. And this is the second rocket barrage that Gyro has expended without getting too much on it, and Kronosh with the boots advantage has just been kiting beautifully here.
Yeah, I mean, he's keeping himself out of trade range and just throwing out those auto attacks, keeping him nice and low. And they're starting to run out of regen big time. I mean, we see Gyrocopter actually buy another set of tangos, and he's going to ferry it out to himself right now. Omni Knight is adding something else to the courier there. What is it? Oh, just a ring of regen. Okay, so looking to get his soaring items a little bit quicker, but yeah, they're really hurting for regen items up on top, and they just really can't find the exchanges. But Aura getting jumped on here. Duke throws out the Void, and they're trying to bring him down. One more auto attack. Is it enough? It is. Pugna gets the kill, and Gyrocopter goes down despite the repel from the Omni Knight. Yeah, he didn't quite have the mana to be able to purify, so he went for the repel, hoping it would deflect some of the damage, but it just quite wasn't enough.
Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we got Dory kind of rotating here on the lane, and he may be able to courier here if they're not careful. Oh, nope. Lane is able to
Courier's flying, no problem there.
Micro it away without too much issue, but Lesh actually got Lena quite low that last fight, so definitely keep an eye on the mid lane here for a lightning stun combo.
Yeah, and like I said, like, these two heroes can really trade against each other, and it's just because of the fact that they both have, like, 700 range abilities. Like, they can just sit back, take it easy, and clear out the creep waves without having to engage each other really at all. So the chances of anybody dying on that mid lane are pretty minimal, and if someone does, it'll probably be at the hands of a gank rather than just a sloppy solo kill.
A little bit of a misplay by the Pugna as he pops his salve, and it's immediately cancelled by the flat cannon of the Gyro. So they may actually go on the Pugna here as Gyro kind of loops around, and oh, good purification, a good right click by the Gyro takes down the Pugna.
Yeah, he turned on that flat cannon just to make sure that he got it no matter what he hit there. I think he just turned on the flat cannon and A-clicked, and fortunately it was the Pugna that he targeted anyways, but Pugna does go down. And yeah, I think that salve cancel that you mentioned had a big hand in what just happened there.
Earthshaker's in the mid lane looking for a good stun onto Lena, and they may go now as he pumps fakes. But the stun comes out, and the Leshon just misses.
Yeah, he just a little bit short on that stun. If he had been ready to prep it right as the Earthshaker stun had gone out, that probably would have been a kill, but just not quite there, and they end up falling. Whoops. Forgot my overlays. There we are. Camera work's getting sloppy, boys. Oh, good block there on the mid lane to keep Lena from getting that illusion rune, or that invis rune rather. And Lokarn's gonna go pick it up for himself. He doesn't have any mana, so he can't really do anything with this, but gonna deny it from the Lena, and that's enough for him.
A good play by him. Meanwhile, in this bottom lane, the keepers decide to solo the lane, and is actually doing quite well. He's just able to spam out that illuminate and use his clarity or chakra magic to get his mana back. So he's actually doing fairly well and is actually forced to draw back on less than 100 HP.
Yeah. Top lane, engagement breaks out as the Night Stalker charges forward, but that Rocket Barrage does a lot of work in bringing him nice and low, and a fissure from the TPing Earthshaker brings him down. Kronosh dropping really low, but not going to drop to the flat cannon. Gets himself hiding in the trees, and Lena is there to help out as well. They might find a kill as the Laguna Blade is armed and ready, but she's only got enough mana for that and one other spell, so it depends which one she throws, but oh yeah, I think she overestimated the Laguna Blade damage. Wasn't enough to bring down that Omni, so she
the courier!
No,
again!
It's fine. And a great block by Lokar, and his Earthshaker play this game is already absolutely huge. I mean, he got a good stun on mid. It didn't turn into a kill, but that First Blood and the Radiant Jungle, and then that block off there have been awesome. He's been doing so well.
Unfortunate fissure there as it blocks him out, as this tree is just a little bit too close to the fissure for allowing him to get around, but I think Night Stalker would have been safe either way there.
Yeah. I think actually they probably should have just targeted Kronosh with everything. They kind of threw some damage towards the Night Stalker when the Pugna was sitting up here and also got stunned out by the by that fissure. And I think if they had walked towards him, maybe gotten a little bit more of the rock barrage damage on him, that would have been a kill. But they try to go for the beefier target, and it doesn't work out for him.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
This phase is a great pickup for the Gyro, as he's really kind of struggled to get close to these enemy heroes. But the phase is going to allow him to close that distance and get the full damage of his rocket barrage. So really increasing the value of his mana as he uses his phase.
Yep.
But I'm just watching this Earthshaker, man. Like, his fissures have been on point this game. Pump fakes, pump fakes, pump fakes, and goes for it.
And he gets both of them on the good side, but it's not enough to turn a fight. And Gyro just barely didn't have enough mana for cooldown. I think if he had had the mana for cooldown, he just throws it under the tower and they dive, but didn't end up getting it there. And unfortunate, but I mean, they're still in a good position. And he gets another one. Are they going to throw it? He goes for the rocket barrage. Not quite, as he gets gusted away. And no blood spilled on the top lane.
Meanwhile, in the mid lane, LateGame goes down to a gank from the line. Good Earth Spike into Laguna and Dragon Slave, so
yeah, actually
pretty big pickup.
I could have seen where the lion came from. He must have been smoked or something, because they had a... was there a smoke used? It doesn't say on the fight recap. But yeah, they had a ward up on this on the top of the dire side there, so he should have been able to see anything coming in. But Lion rotating up towards top, gets a stun out on Lokarn, but Finger of Death, is it enough? Yeah, there we go. A couple auto attacks and he brings down the Earthshaker. So good play there by the Lion. That's 2 kills attributed to him in less than a minute or two. Even though the Earthshaker
and there was a smoke used.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so the Earthshaker goes under the tower, finds a Night Stalker kill, and ends up paying for it as the Lion comes in behind.
One thing we haven't really talked about is this Coddle in the bottom lane has just been getting so much farm. Like, he's got his Tranquils already, he's level 7.
Yeah.
Like, 3rd most XP on the map, and he's getting last hits here and there. Meanwhile, Earthshaker is probably going to get this fissure off. We got a Blinding Light to bring him back, but we don't have a mana leak yet. So hopefully the Illuminate's able to hit him, but no, LateGame with the good jukes off to his side is able to avoid it. Earthshaker goes for the stun.
Night Stalker gets a deny,
but may pay for it with his life.
What a play, man! And Laguna Blade there to bring down the Earthshaker. Wow, I don't think that could have gone any better for Perfectionvore there. That was great.
Good teamwork, good communication, and good rotations by the Lina and the Lina to come on in and save the Night Stalker and get that deny.
See the Lina and the Liana?
Lina and Line. Another rotation on the LateGame here.
They try for the deny, but they don't get it. They're looking for Dorian. That life drain actually doing work, but they're not going to be able to bring him down before he salves up and find himself a haster in there. So that's happy times for LateGame. He is just fine with what he got there.
He actually may turn it onto the Kronosh now. He's the repel actually purges his haste.
Oh, and just barely. Oh man, that was within a microsecond. Like, it was that was insanely close.
That was very close. Good decision making by him to leave on the Nova. I was a little bit surprised when presumably threw on the repel onto LateGame, canceling out the haste rune.
Oh, does that purge the haste rune?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I would have done the same thing.
But you don't play Omni Knight too frequently.
No, I don't. I would have actually done it. Well, I mean, I think the logic behind it was that you don't want to get your LateGame blown up if he, runs into the trees and Pugna just decreps him, Nether Blast, and life drains. Like, if you don't have your stun ready and Pugna takes all your life, it's like, oh, that sucked. So, oh. Looking over towards the net worth charts, we're seeing LateGame sitting at the very top at 5,300 net worth for himself. Lina sitting right behind him at 4,600, and the carry is considerably further down as the Gyro is 3rd and the Drow Ranger is 5th. So, these safe lane cores are not finding the farm they need to, but, you know, we'll see how the rest of the game plays out. These games have been turning really, really scrappy at about this point, so we'll see if that continues to be the pattern as the game continues and these tier 1 towers begin to get knocked down.
Yeah, Coddle is actually getting quite close to his eggs. He's about 1,800 gold away as Perfectionvore kind of dive into the mid tier 1 tower looking for Leshrac, but he just backs up and is safe, and they're going to have to skedaddle on out of there. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we have Drow just farming up underneath tower, and Lion kind of positioned to defend her. Lina teleports into the top lane. They may try to go here on the gyro as 1k initiates. Gyro instead turns around, throws down the call down, and Lion's going to pay for it with this life, but Lina throws the Yules onto the Omni. Good fissure coming in from Lothkarn to disrupt the fight. Meanwhile, Gyro uses the Recopage and Phase Boost to catch up to Lina and bring her down. Echo Slam onto the Gyro Ranger, and that's 3-0. Going the way of Perfectionvore. Or no, late game. I'm getting the teams mixed up here.
Yeah, that was, silence out on the Earthshaker, but that purification was huge. One more attack. No, it's not in the range, but there's the fissure. Gets him, and this Earthshaker, oh my god, triple kill, and he made that fight happen. They stand their ground, ready to fight that Lion if he TP'd in, but he cancels that out, and that was about as big a swing as you could hope for. The fight recap didn't catch all 5 of those kills, but if we look at the golden net worth graph in just a second here, yeah, we can see it spike up from about 2,500 to almost 7,500 on both net worth and XP.
Yeah, this Earthshaker is playing out of his mind. He's close to Blink. He's like 450 gold away, doing phenomenally well, disrupting fights, saving heroes, getting kills.
Yeah,
like,
every fissure that he's
Lothkarn
done this game has made something happen. It's just been impeccable play. He's placing everything right where it needs to be, and you know, using that soul ring to make sure that he always has mana for what he needs to be doing.
Sustains, gold remains.
Great vision coming out on the side of both teams. If we look at the vision of like Radiant, they have I think 3 observers down, and on the side of the Dire we also have 4. We have
5 observers down on the Dire side.
Wow. Yeah, so both teams really heavily valuing vision, and the Snipe Sucker pick is definitely impeding. But we have another fissure on the mid lane, kind of blocking out that Night Sucker, but he's just able to sneak around the edge of the fissure there and throws out a void onto the Omni Knight before backing out. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, got a spike onto the Coddle, and Finger Death will take him down after the Decrepify is used, amplifying damage by 60%?
30, I believe. Oh, it is 60. No, it's a 6% move slow. Oh yeah, it is 6% move chances, or damage as well.
Yeah, so that changes the nuke from 600 damage to like close to 800?
I think a little over. But yeah, I mean, we it's also important to note though that if Lina purchases an Aghanim Scepter, her ultimate will no longer be amplified by Decrepify, because it will switch from magical to pure. So at her level 3 Laguna Blade, it's actually more, well, it depends who you want to target it on. You get the Aghanim Scepter if you want to target the Gyrocopter, because he'll inevitably have the repel on him. But if you're going to target anybody else, you might as well just wait for the Decrepify and get the Zapadappadoo. But save getting found out again on the bottom lane by the same 2 heroes, and Drow's going to come over here and probably just pick up this last hit. Oh no, Lion gets it, but either way, Coddle dying in the exact same place twice in a row. That's really unfortunate for him. He should be a little bit more conscious of where the enemy heroes are as he's moving around in unscouted territory.
This is especially troublesome because he was given farm priority to get that Aghanim, and that's been shut down. He's been 1,000 gold away for these last few minutes here. And so, oh, Lina gets a Yules off on the gyro. lands her son, but the cooldown's going to come down. She's going to Lagoon and take him out, and they're going to get out of there. A little bit damaged, but they're okay. Meanwhile, Earthshaker in the mid lane has to back up his line, and Night Stalker come in to kind of push him away.
Yeah, no, the...
structures are fortified.
What was I... Oh, yeah. So the interaction we were talking about in the draft of game number 1 has actually really come into effect here, as there is a Night Stalker versus a Coddle that is purchasing an Aghanims. And so if this Coddle does finish this Ags, it's only really going to be useful for probably the next 8 minutes or so. And when Night Stalker hits his, level 2 ulti and begins to build his own Ags, Nighttime's going to disappear. Coddle's never going to get a heal off with his Q ever again.
Which is, like, especially troublesome, because that's like a 4.2 thousand investment for the Coddle.
Yeah. And it's going to be next... What? Wait. Omni Knight got a kill down a bot. Oh, hey, look at that, yeah.
Earthshaker
getting another good fissure, and it's followed up by an Omni Knight Purification, and that's the damage they need. Find themselves a Pugna, and Earthshaker's got himself a Blink. I mean, he had it before that, but he's got one now, and he is happy and ready to go.
Right now, both teams have kind of moved into this kind of phase of the game where they're both very, like, content to farm. Oh, meanwhile, in the mid lane, Lena gets lucky haste rune and is able to escape from the Leshrac, and the 4 Radiant heroes just kind of congregate in there. And Horace actually able to fall back and just farm these Ancients. Now, I think he got he got the Tomato Hell Bear Smasher, and presumably it's going to come and soak up a little bit of the XP here. And these stacks actually add up quite a bit in the long run of the games. If we look on the side of Perfectionvore, I don't think any of these camps have been stacked. They've just been kind of quickly farmed away.
Yeah, and interesting note here is that last game with the Gyro Omni, Hora did not buy a BKB at all. Even at the end, he just bought more damage. He had like an MKB at the end of it, but he didn't go for the BKB. This game, however, the Gyro has purchased a BKB, and he's purchased it before 20 minutes. Even with that Omni Knight on his team. So definitely it's going to mean a lot more damage, or a lot more survivability for him, but will he have the damage to burst down this lineup? It's a question.
Yeah, I think this is the right pick, though, because of the sheer amount of magic damage that Perfectionvore has on the table in the mid-early game. Like, he doesn't have to worry about Drow Ranger for the next, I don't know, 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes, as she continues to farm away her Manta and other damage items.
Yeah, that's very true. And other thing to note that while I was looking at that
Lena gets the Yules.
He gets the Yules on the Earthshaker, and boom, there it goes.
That was hot.
So yeah, what I was talking about earlier was while the Gyro was doing those Ancients there, he jumped from about the 4th place in the net worth charts all the way up to 1st, and Lena's overtaken him because of that kill, but that Gyro farm is sitting right at the top and doing really, really well for him. So as he starts to pick up some more damage items, this Gyro is going to begin becoming a huge pest for Perfectionvore.
And with that kill, Lena actually picks up her eggs, so just in time for Gyro to get his BKB, Lena then can turn around and say, hey, I've got this ability that goes through your BKB.
Yeah, and she doesn't actually have it available now as she uses up the Gyro and he pops the BKB, but that's a 10-second BKB pretty much down the drain. I mean, they're going to be able to use it to push, but for the most part, he didn't dodge all that much. I guess it might have saved his life there from that Lena, but, they back away and he doesn't get to do anything aggressive with it, which is, of course, a problem.
Meanwhile, Gyro kind of sneaks in behind here, lands a gust, but quickly runs away and TP's out before too much happens. Meanwhile, Coddle recalls Earthshaker to the fight, and they may look to push a little bit more here, but instead they're going to back up. Gyro's going to grab a regen, maybe leave it for someone else, as late game's like, you know what, we got a tier 2 tower, let's back up, continue farming. We've been doing that really well. We got Gyro stacks that we can do in a little bit once he grabs another creep. So playing the farm game for late game is actually probably the right decision here.
Yeah. And So yeah, we talked about that Aghanim Scepter up on the Lina. Like I said, her ulti will now no longer be amplified by Decrepify, but I don't think she cares about that all too much. I mean, I think the chances of her getting a good Decrepify target are pretty minimal, and even so, she'll still be able to use the spell, it just won't be amplified. So either way, her damage is looking good and scary against Hora, but whether or not they have the damage to finish him off after that Laguna Blade and the BKB are up is another question. They really need that Drow to start hitting hard, and she's got a Sanjin Yashin now, so she's got a little bit of damage, a little bit of chase potential, but you know, whether that amounts to anything in a team fight is going to be another question entirely. But Duke and IK2 sitting on the sidelines, kind of looking for an angle to get in there, but realizing now that it's a little too late to get in there, and the tier 2 tower falls. So Perfectionvore's lineup is just kind of going to disintegrate, go over to other sections of the map, and leave that push alone.
One pretty big item pickup is that IK2 has now got a Blink Dagger, which is going to allow for quick initiation into the backlines, maybe try to blow up an Omni before he's able to be too much of a factor in the team fight, but we haven't seen like a big reveal of that Blink Dagger in terms of where he blinks on someone, stuns them up, has someone else come in, and they finish the job.
Yeah, and Nightstalker himself now has an Ogre Club. I'm curious to see if he's going for a BKB or if that's just the beginnings of his Aghanims. I'm really hoping it's an Aghanims because I don't think the BKB is too relevant to him in particular. He doesn't need to be in the middle of these. Like, I guess he kind of needs to be a frontliner for his team, but the way these fights have been happening have been a lot more pick-offy than I think than anything else. And I don't know if Duke is going to be able to do all that much, even if he gets a BKB. You know, like if he runs into the middle of a fight with a BKB up, what does he do? Does he just auto-attack the Coddle or something? Like, I don't think it will affect him all that much. But anyways, we've got 2 sets of smokes going off here, and Drow is farming off all on her own, and Perfectionvore, they're going to catch her. There is no question about this. Earthshaker goes in, blink, there's the fissure, there's the stuns, there's the split earth, everything, and Drow gets done. Realizing that, Perfectionvore used their smoke to head into Roshan, and they're just going to work on that instead. You know, there's no tier 2 tower to top to trade, so they're basically just trading their Drow for a Roshan, which I think is probably ideal for him. There was a ping out there by late game. They drew an arrow across the map towards the Rosh, but they're not going to get there in time.
No, this is going to be not exactly free, but a good Rosh for Perfectionvore. I'm curious to see how they use the Aegis though. Like, they put it on the Lina, but are they really able to push? I'd love to see them try to get in, maybe take some objectives with this Aegis, but right now they seem kind of content to back up, wait for the Drow to respawn. Meanwhile, late game is thinking, hey, I think we're okay to fight. Even with Aegis in the hands of Perfectionvore, let's push.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, too. It's like Perfectionvore doesn't really have an edge right now, so they can't use that Aegis aggressively. All they can really do is hope that late game fights them, and then they can use that Aegis. And if late game doesn't want to, they can just back the hell off, farm up for this 6 minutes, and just wait that Aegis out. And it looks like they're a little more comfortable going for a push. They're kind of drawing arrows on the map to go up the bottom lane. So maybe they want to snag themselves a tier 2 tower, but even if they go for the tier 2, I don't think Perfectionvore even fights that. It's really hard to fight this tier 2 tower, especially just because of this ramp here. I mean, not a lot of people think about it, but having that high ground on the side of the tower means really, really big things. It makes this tower super hard to defend, and a lot of times teams will just say, you know what, screw it, can't go there.
Yeah, Perfectionvore kind of pushed in the mid here, kind of threatening that tier 1, but as soon as they see 1 or 2 TPs come in, they quickly back off and decide to farm their jungle, which may be the right call, but they're in a really tough position here.
Yeah. You know, we should have... Perfectionvore should be named Ogre Club owners. They've got 3 heroes with nothing but a naked Ogre Club, and I think they're all intending on BKBs, but none of them have it yet.
Yeah. Like, that's the only real option for Drow. But what is the... Like, the BKB is going to offer them a lot of safety from, like, the Earthshaker initiation, who may get a good fissure off right now, but Perfectionvore wisely backs up out of the range as Gyro picks up a double damage, and I think this will translate into us or late game taking the enemy ancients and then pushing up that bottom lane to secure the last tier 2 tower.
Yeah, great take there. The gyrocopter gets himself a nice healthy chunk of gold, and he's well on his way to a satanic. This is going to be huge for him. Great survivability, great ability to just kind of fight in the middle of everyone, and even if he gets bursted down by that Laguna Blade, whatever, he just heals it back up. So I think Gyrocopter is sitting in a very, very scary position, and Perfectionvore is going to need to come up with a way to deal with him, because he's hitting for, what is it without the DD? Yeah, over 200 damage, and he's got almost 2k life points with a Black King Bar. Like, what do you do against that?
There's not a whole lot that Perfectionvore can do. They can look to go for pickoffs as they decide to try to trade their bottom tier 2 tower for the mid tower, which is good because that mid tower is really valuable in terms of positioning and getting an early TP as Duke kind of dives in and throws the silence onto the Coddle. But Earthshaker jumps in.
Bottom lane, Kronaj TP's in to his demise. They sent out the rockets right before that TP came in, and he just landed with a face full of nuke, and Hora just blew him up. That was it. The Pugna goes down, and so does the tier 2 tower. So despite that Aegis being on the side of Perfectionvore, they are unable to push mid and unable to defend their bottom tier 2. So that kind of speaks to how far they are behind. Despite, Golden XP not being too ridiculously off the charts. I mean, we're only at about 5k net worth and 5k XP in the favor of late game, but it's just kind of the heroes that they have and the ability that they have to fight at this stage of the game that makes late game so much scarier at this stage. And Duke gets mana leaked, and he's going to get himself stunned as he runs off into the trees. He's going to be safe for now, but definitely was a precarious position, and he's going to have to go all the way back to Fountain to get that mana back, and maybe a small window for late game to get up there and chip some damage off the tower. Nah, they're backing out.
I just feel like late game is in such a commanding position right now in the game. Like their hero choice and their draft choice just seems to be doing so much work for them as Gyro finishes up his Satanic. Lee's going to come in with her team behind her. She initiates off the Earthshaker with her Lagunic Blade.
Guardian Angel goes out, and the Omni Knight's just hammering away at the Lion. Finger of Death goes out on Hora, but it means absolutely nothing to him. He pops off that BKB. He's still got the Satanic if he wants it, but he didn't turn it on. Oh man, he just had to turn around Flat Cannon, and that fight goes horribly for late game. I definitely thought they were going to be able to fight that, no problem, but a few things just didn't go their way. First of all, Laguna Blade went out on Earthshaker right away. Earthshaker died without getting a single spell off, and we all know how important those fissures have been this game. So no Echo Slam, no fissure, and Perfectionvore just get a chance to work away on the Gyrocopter. On top of that, he didn't activate the Satanic. Oh, they missed the stun, but he's, yeah. Missing that stun was the difference between him committing suicide and dying, but he still dies. He still loses the Bloodstone charges, but no gold going the way of Perfectionvore, so I guess whatever, but that's still not a death you want to give up.
Yeah, losing those Bloodstone charges at this point is also quite cumbersome for him, as he's really a mana-dependent hero, and he wants to get up as many charges as he can. He just finished up Ashivas, which is going to help him against the Drow Ranger's right-click, but overall, a lot of the damage still coming from Perfectionvore is kind of their magic, Finger of Death, Decrepify into Nether Blash, and Life Drain. So we're seeing a little bit of a strange itemization perhaps from the Leshrac, as Earthshaker lands a fissure onto the Night Stalker mid and follows it up with the stun, but nothing happens of it. He is also quick to back up, and the two teams separate without any deaths occurring.
I think he could have echoed for that and gotten the kill, but not wanting to waste the echo quite yet, and so they let the Night Stalker go, and everyone lives to fight another day.
In that last team fight, was there a reason why Gyro didn't pop his Satanic, or was it just...
Well, he was stunned out for a while, but he popped his Black King Bar, he fought, and then he was still at full health at the end of his BKB, and then he started getting bursted down, but he didn't have the cooldown on Flat Cannon. It was off cooldown, and he didn't want a Satanic with just regular auto attacks. So he waited and he activated Flat Cannon, but he didn't activate Satanic before his last attack before he died. And if he had activated the Satanic as those bullets were flying, he would have regened enough to keep fighting, but he was just a little slow on his fingers and it didn't work out for him.
In the top lane, Lina gets a solo pick-off against Celestia. Shiva's guard doesn't really pan out too well against an Aghanim's Lina, as she's able to just blow him up. Meanwhile, Drow Ranger gets a kill onto the Omni Knight, and Coddle with the cheeky plays, mana leaks Lina and then blinding lights her away to stun her and cancels the TP.
Yeah, that fight in the jungle was really unfortunate. The Earthshaker thought he saw an opening, fissured somebody off and blinked in, and when he blinked in, he discovered that there were 3 there, the Night Stalker, the Pugna, and the Lion, and he got decrept and fingered, and it was pretty much GG from there, and the Omni Knight was coming in to save him, and then he got picked off by the Drow. So just really sloppy pickoffs all over the map, and late game might be on tilt a little bit here as Perfectionvore take a tower and even up the kill score.
There's definitely a measure of momentum in Dota that we can see where other teams kind of take this commanding advantage, or maybe you're just playing more assertively and kind of use that assertiveness to
they're waiting around in Roche, and there we go. It spawns as they're sitting inside the pit, so good on them to wait for it. But yeah, Perfectionvore gonna get themselves an easy Roche. And I've been holding these graphs up on the screen here, but Perfectionvore has brought the net worth differential down to 0, and actually just a little sliver in their favor, and the XP is down to 5k, but fight is coming out here, and the Lina is going ham on the Earthshaker, not able to bring her down though as the Guardian Angel protects her from the auto attacks. Coddle going to be the first casualty of this fight. Latrak in the middle of everybody, he's going to get brought down by the Q of the Pugna, now presumably trying to run away, but he is going to get toasty roasty here in just a second. Boom, there we go, finger of death, and he is done. Lion just sent him to hell and back to hell and back. And now I think bottom lane is going to be taking some serious damage.
Yeah, Drow Ranger goes and finishes up Roshan. Excellent play on the side of Perfectionvore there. I was a little bit confused to see Gyro in base during that fight, and Earthshaker just not having the opportunity to really initiate into that fight the way he wanted to, you know, landing that big echo in the pit or something.
Yeah.
But you know, late game just needs something, anything to kind of get their heads back in the game to kind of assert their dominance.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a big echo slam, maybe that's just a team fight win, but
I mean, Perfectionvore's greatest success this game has been shutting down that Earthshaker. He was making the difference in every single fight before this, and every fight after, they have killed him before he can echo, and we see it happen. Almost happened again there, but a mech came out to keep him safe, and now they are getting chased down, hunted like dogs, as Ale Bellamy is going to get caught by this rocket. It is inevitable, and the Aegis is going to get popped. They're looking for Duke. Can they find him? He gets up onto the high ground, so it looks like the Night Stalker and the Lina should be able to escape from this, but Drow Ranger not going to be so lucky as she is getting bursted down by that gyrocopter, getting focused, and that is going to be a triple kill for the gyro. Can they find the Lina? They're looking for her.
Fisher's off cooldown.
Wears off. They just need to get that Earthshaker in range. Force staff, anything. Oh, he drops the gem, but it drops outside of the trees. Unfortunate. Oh, and there goes the Lina. Yeah. That was a really intelligent play. I like to do that a lot. If you're about to die and you know you're going to die, drop the gem in the trees. Hopefully the enemy team doesn't see it and you can go pick it up with a courier later. But he dropped it, and because there wasn't enough pathable space for that gem to get dropped in these trees, it just dropped out in the lane and it was visible for the enemy team. So 3 kills going the way of late game, and now they've got a little bit of that momentum back and they can take it down bottom lane and try to return the racks that they just lost themselves.
Earthshaker still has Echo, so that's a huge teamfight ability, and Drow has a 20-second cooldown. They're just waiting on the creeps to get in the lane here before they push up. Lion's off to the side, he's got his blink, he's got his glimmer, but the gem on the side of late game is going to offer them a little bit of advantage. Lina's forced to buy back as they say, hey, we want to defend our racks. Bugna comes out, Nether Blasted, Lion blinks in, gets the Hex onto the gyrocopter, but he's easily protected by the Guardian Angel. Lina gets the initiation on the Omni Knight. Counter call down comes down and kind of separates this fight. Night Star comes in with the BKB and just starts going on the Earthshaker. Lina decides to invests the Laguna on him, takes down the Earthshaker, not be able to get off. Gyro unable to live, even popping his Satanic as Perfectionvore seems to be turning this fight. Lion drops and Lena drops and Techno drops as Drow pops her BKB and starts to chase, but both teams happy to disengage kind of at this point.
That Illuminate at the end there, that was, what was that, a double or a triple kill?
I think it was a double kill.
It was a double kill, and then Omni Knight picked up the Lena as well. So just that damage, they all 5 of them just walked into a huge blast coming out from the trees here, and that sealed the deal on that team fight. So late game, keep themselves in an advantageous position there. They get themselves the gem, they get themselves 3 kills, and despite not getting the racks, I think they got a trade that they're happy with there. But once again, this Earthshaker goes another full team fight, not able to pop off an Echo Slam. And Perfectionvore, like I said, that's been the key to their success in coming back from this game, is shutting down that Earthshaker, and they do it again despite a unfavorable team fight.
And the darkness coming into huge effect there. That Illuminate would have healed all their heroes as well had darkness been not applied there.
Yeah, and we see that level 3 darkness up now. It's got a 50-second duration and an 80-second cooldown, so the most you'll ever see daytime for is 30 seconds. So this Coddle is going to have a really hard time making this Aghanims do anything useful. I mean, like, you've still got the ulti off cooldown at all times, but for the most part, that doesn't really mean a whole lot. You really get it for the heals and for that flying vision, and you really don't get that. No.
Yeah. For sure. And
Lena.
Right now we have the Earthshaker initiating onto Lena. Echo Slam comes out and Lena's going to fall. Call down Invest as well. And Perfectionvore, I think, is forced to back out. That's a dieback for the Lena, or rather her death after buyback. And so we're going to see late game probably try to threaten racks here.
Yeah, they got to go for mid as they don't have their creep wave from bottom, so they have to back out a little bit, but that Nether Ward is placed very, very well, and it's keeping them from doing too much, but Coddle gets in there, they're attacking down the Nether Ward, and so there goes the Ward, and there goes the tower. Lena's not going to be up for another 3/4 of a minute, and these racks, I think, are going to fall.
Yeah, we do have the Butterfly up on the Drown Ranger without an MKB on the Gyro yet. He does have the Demon Edge, so he's about...
He's got the gold for the MKB. It'll be up in seconds. If he wants to expend his buyback money, that's the question, though. Down on bottom, though, they get split up a little bit, and the Night Stalker's chasing in onto the Leshrac, but the Guardian Angel with the Repel, and this Leshrac is invincible as of now. They get a tier 3 tower, they're looking for the racks again. Nether Ward goes down, but that's going to get blown up in a matter of seconds. A couple auto attacks, and that's it. Earthshaker, he's out of the fight, but he didn't have an extra time to use anyways. The Gyrocopter sitting right up front now. Drow trying to do whatever damage she can, but she has to keep switching targets as she's getting kited out. There we go. She finally brings down the Omni Knight, and the gem gets left behind. Goes for the stun. They catch out the Coddle. Will they bring him down? Of course they will. Oh, he gets a Glimmer Cape off. He's going to hide in the trees and might be able to TP out, but the Leshrac not going to be so lucky as he gets brought down. So will the Gyro. He gets out, and that's going to be it. They lose the gem in a greedy attempt for another set of racks. I think they probably should have backed off after the first one.
Yeah, I think as soon as Lena respawned, they should have backed off, so that was about the same times they went for that racks. But they did get the tower, which gives them really good options now in terms of threatening that racks. They don't have to worry about like having to go through a tower or a glyph. They can just like maybe win a team fight and quickly run there and finish off the range racks before it can backdoor region. So all in all, it does benefit them a little bit. But giving up those kills and the gem also hurts.
Yeah, and I mean, this counter pressure is going to come right in. The tier 2 taking a little bit of damage here, but it's backdoor protected for now. Creep waves are now there, so they'll work to chip that down. And yeah, tier 2 tower is going to drop. Can they get into the base? Looks like they're going to back off. When is Roche up? We've got about a minute until we find out how long it is.
Illusion.
Meanwhile, the Radiant Courier sneaks off into the secret shop, just barely missing the dire heroes.
Yeah, what are they gonna buy? Okay, so they got a soul booster for Dory, so that Leshrac will start working towards an Octarine core.
Eggs finished up for the Night Stalker. A little bit later than I expected, but I think getting the BKB was probably the right call, as the late game gets the next 30 seconds of daytime and then is then purged into the darkness for another 50.
Yeah, and I mean, this Night Stalker Ags is going to mean so much as well. I mean, they've got that gem, so they're going to have flying vision. They're going to be able to deward anything and everything that late game has dropped across this map. But
Late game having only defensive wards, so right now.
yeah, I mean, they've got some. They've got this guy over here. They've got the one in their own jungle over here. But yeah, they're definitely, there's not too much to deward at this moment.
And even the wards they do have kind of lose value with the Night Stalker Darkness, right?
Yeah.
The decreased vision of buildings.
Yeah,
and
you
the
really
fear
can't
is
see
just-
Jack.
And I think that's one of the main factors that's been affecting this Earthshaker. He's been wanting to kind of scout to kind of be able to blink in, but they just haven't had the vision to safely position him. He needs to be farther back with that Force Staff and Blink Dagger, but the darkness is just leaving him essentially in the dark, without a better choice of words to have.
Yeah.
Line blinks on to the Earthshaker though, catches him out using that Night Stalker adds as Loser comes out and Lina Lagunas herself in line pays with the flight, dropping the gem, but we have a chase onto the dire side as they sneak away with barely any HP. Ward puts up a little bit of a fight against the Radiant team, but the Perfectionvore tries to back up Drow using her guts to try to get away, but Drow was able to take her down before she's able to TP.
The
and
MKB proc.
yeah, very lucky NKB proc. Meanwhile, Pugna gets taken down by the Leshrac, and buybacks are probably going to be forced by on the side of Perfectionvore.
Yeah, there's 3 buybacks available, so it doesn't look like these racks are going to drop. Maybe the range dies. No, yeah, they're just going to back right out as they see the buybacks come up.
But Perfectionvore wants blood. They want to make use of these buyback. They're hunting, and Night Stalker's got the eggs and he's running. I think the gem is still on the ground over here, but that's not important as Call Out comes down and turns on the Drow. If he's able to get her down before anything.
Drow dropped so low, but the Pugna kept her healed. Now Dory in a lot of trouble in the middle of that fight, but gets repelled and is trying to run away. Looks like she will survive for now. There goes the Night Stalker as he gets finished off by a auto attack from the Gyrocopter, and the Drow as well. She got, yeah, she was just in bad positioning that whole fight. She was trying really hard to chase and found herself a little too far up the high ground there, and it just got turned right back around on her. And the Pugna kept her alive for a little while, but once the Pugna was gone, she was done. And so Drow Ranger falls, and that is 3 out of 5 dead with no buybacks available on the side of Perfectionvore. We could be seeing a GG from late game here any second.
Yeah, late game is definitely in a position to take this game unless this Lion and Lina are able to buy time, maybe sacrifice these racks, get off stuns, get off the Laguna game, try to get some kills. But if Lina dies here, that'll be a dieback. Oh, and she gets stunned up by the left rack. She comes in with his pulse up, she pops her BKB, but the right clicks are there to take down. She yields up into the air, tries to mitigate the damage, escapes into the wall, barely surviving with her life. Line also TPs in, but the bottom barracks half balls as late game starts going for the throne.
Yeah, this is probably going to be it. They've got the Edict working away at the tier 4 towers. They've got 1 down. They're going to get 2. And we're going to see the Night Stalker and the Pugna spawn at the exact same time. Can they fight 4v5 to bring this back is the question. I mean, it's close. They throw out the Laguna onto the Omni Knight, but he pops off the Guardian Angel to keep everybody safe. And I just don't see a way in for Perfectionvore. They can't take this fight, and they're looking for the Omni Knight, but he walks away from that just fine. Oh, nope, maybe not just fine. A couple more right clicks from Melina, but they're just focusing on the Ancient, and they trade 1 for 1, and they're still going at it, though. Call Down goes down as the BKB from Melina ends, and she is going to be the first casualty of this fight. She buys back right away. Duke is going to go down, though. Kronosh is getting forced back to base, and that's going to be the GG call. Finally, what a climactic 3-game series we just had there, and this is only the first round of the playoffs, friends. What an insane game.
Yeah, excellent play by both teams. Very back and forth. I was certain that Perfectionvore was just out of the game, but they just fought their way back into that game for the mid game, and then suddenly late game just turned it around and were able to get the mid set racks, some key kills, and were able to push Throne and win the game. So very good game, very great play by both players. That Earthshaker just dominated the early game, but somehow...
Like I said, I mean, I think that
comes out on
Earthshaker was very, very key in this game. Like, you know, that mid-game burst where Perfectionvore started to take it back, it was them shutting down the Earthshaker. They didn't have the, like I said, like you mentioned the vision from the Night Stalker. Like, the Night Stalker kept him from being able to see what he was blinking into. And on top of that, they were just focusing the hell out of him. The Lion was always fingering him. They used the Laguna Blade a couple times. The Pugna was trying to finish him off. The Drow was silencing him. This Earthshaker couldn't do anything. And it meant that we got late game didn't have the initiation they needed to get their gyro into a damage dealing position. So really well played, but I mean, the focus this entire series was on the gyrocopter. I mean, the one game that Perfectionvore took in the very first one, it was because they shut down the gyro. Then 2 games after, we saw we got late game draft an Omni Knight to make sure that that gyro was safe and healthy at all times so he could do all the damage he needed to take over these games. So fantastic series. I loved seeing this. The Night Stalker pickups were insanely fun. Any closing comments, my buddy?
No, just a great game. Well played to both teams, and I look forward to seeing both these teams play in the future.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. It has been a blast showcasting this for you. You can keep up with all the UGC League action over at www.ugcleague.com. They'll have the playoff brackets there. They'll have everything set up there. I believe this game means that We Got Late Game will be moving on to face the winner of No Brew Mama versus Irresistible Stallions. So that'll be up next week. But anyways, if you enjoyed my casting, please throw me a follow over at Twitch, YouTube, or Twitter, all at CptnCanuckDota. And you can check out the UGC League as I mentioned. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. It's been a blast. I'll be around next Sunday as well to bring you the next round of playoffs games, so stay tuned for that. Cheers, and have yourselves a great week.